Hello and welcome to the Browns postgame show. It is another victory for the Cleveland Browns, folks. I wrote it down right here. I wrote it down as I was watching the end of it. Not an impressive win, but a win is a win is a win is a win in this crazy pandemic season. 27-25, the final at Jacksonville. Your Cleveland Browns are now 8-3. It wasn't as pleasing maybe or as easy as you thought it would be or wanted it to be, but minus Myles Garrett, minus Denzel Ward, crazy things have happened in the NFL and college football this year. You take a win on the road, you get to 8-3, and then you fly back, hopefully stay COVID-free, and get ready for your next game on the schedule. So the Browns will take it. Kevin Stefanski will take it. Baker Mayfield will take it. He played good and bad. Baker kind of kept Jacksonville in the game with some of his poor passes. But like I said, in the end, Nick Chubb churning for over 100 yards, the defense making just enough plays. And thank you, Doug Marrone, for two stupid decisions to help the Browns win this game 27-25. Doug Marrone, of course, the head coach of the 1-10 Jacksonville Jaguars. So we're going to react to your comments. Hit me up with comments, please, on Facebook and Twitter. I want to hear from you all. I'll answer your questions. We'll react to your comments. I'll give you my comments, and let's bring in our special guest again, all the way from Hollywood, California. Look at him. He's got the Browns gear on. He's got the Indians gear on. Eddie Mcclintock joining us today for another Browns victory. How are you, Eddie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm well, Kenny. Thank you. 8-3. What's that all about?
Right? I mean, a lot of people, JT and I were talking about this, a lot of kids that were born from 1999 on have no idea what 8-3 is if you're a Browns fan.
Yeah, I don't know how to act. I'm kind of, am I happy? Am I sad? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what, JT, I think he's happy, but he's not joining us today. He's putting up his Christmas tree. So I think he thought it was going to be a blowout. It's Jacksonville, so he was going to DVR it and watch it after the fact. So it's you and me along with everybody else hitting us up via Twitter and Facebook with comments, questions, and all of that. So give me your thoughts, Eddie Mcclintock, on Baker Mayfield's game today, because I kind of gave you mine a little bit early there in the open, but give me your thoughts on Baker today.
You know, he's a mystery. You know, he throws the ball downfield. You know, he makes great plays, great throws. Down, you know, like past 25 yards, he's a Hall of Famer. But again, like we've said in the past, his touch passes, his touch needs to. I mean, I guess he can work that out. You know, it's not something that I hope yeah. He can work it out. You know,
yeah.
I love his fire. There's a part I recorded it. I'll send it to you. Jacksonville downshifted, and Baker said to him, "That was effing cute, guys." as he was calling the cadence, man.
Right.
And that's what I love about him, man. He's like, you know, he's got fire. You know, I just wish he was a little more consistent, but he did what he had to do to get us the W. I mean, he made some great tight window throws, but then, you know, like throws that you're like, how do you miss that?
Right.
But I'm not a professional quarterback, so it's easy for me to say that when I'm, you know, sitting in the comfort of my living room.
Right, with no 280-pound guys chasing after you to try and knock it down. But that's what he gets paid to do, and that's the part that bothered me. I really thought he kept Jacksonville in the game by missing two wide-open touchdown passes. The tight end on the one, I think it was a tight end or was it Hodge? Whoever it was on a slant, wide open, and he held on to the ball. I'm looking at this, and I'm like, he's open, throw the ball. And he waited, then he threw it, and it was off the mark. And then Landry on the out at the pylon, he overthrows that one. So instead of 7, you get 3 there, and then they go down. And so, and there was another play late in the game where he did that.
Behind Hunt. He threw that way behind Hunt, and it wasn't like a, you know, I mean, again, I'm not a professional quarterback, but for a first round number 1 draft pick, you know, it seemed to me that it was a pretty easy throw, and it's kind of throws you got to make, especially if he's going to, you know, play in these bigger games, you know.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Against the Jaguars, you can get away with that. Against the Steelers, against the Chiefs, even the Ravens, who are struggling right now, but still against the Ravens, you can't do that against the better teams. Jacksonville's 1-10 for a reason, Eddie, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Doug Marrone, why? He kicks the extra point. They go up by 3, 20-17. Then he says, you know what? They're offsides. I'm going to go for 2. It made no sense to go for 2 at that point. And you take that point off the board. So instead of 20-17, it's 19-17. And then they come back and they're forced to then go for 2 again because they took that point off the board. Game could have been tied and Baker would have had to go down and score, or we're going to overtime. So Doug Marrone, thank you for all Browns fans out there. I'm saying this for all the Browns fans. Thank you for your idiotic decision there to take the point off the board.
Yeah, best player on the field for us today.
As I look at Nick Chubb, I marvel at his competitiveness. I marvel at his greatness almost. I think I tend to, and we all do this in sports, we overuse the term great. But Nick Chubb can become a great running back. We're seeing how different the Browns are when he plays versus when he doesn't play. His cutback runs today, like at least a handful of them, where he's going right and he jump cuts back and takes it out the back door, or he's going left and he jump cuts up the middle, and he turns 2 or 3 yard gains into 15, 20, 25 yard gains. His vision, his ability to jump cut is so much fun to watch, and he had 175 total yards today. He's the best player on the Browns team, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's so much fun to watch, and with him and Hunt there together, I don't know. I think we can certainly say they're definitely in the top running back duos ever in Cleveland.
I would think so. I mean, you go back, and I'm not as versed in the Brown, Marion Motley, going back way back then, but right now they're starting to shape up like a Mack and Biner backfield, aren't they? I mean, we're seeing that, right? And I give Kevin Stefanski credit because he seems to know how to use those guys and make sure both are happy, make sure both are fresh, and still, getting great results out of both of those players.
Yeah. Hunt doesn't seem to have the vision that Chubb has, but, he's a hard-nosed runner, so I have a lot of respect for him there.
How about this? Today, the Browns ran it 33 times for 207 yards, a 6.3 yard average, 1 touchdown on the ground. Chubb had 1 for 29. That was his long. Hunt had 1 for 27. Nick Chubb, 19 for 144. Kareem Hunt, 10 for 62. So, from that, that standpoint, very impressive. The ability to run the football, call the plays that they called, and I like the way Kevin Stefanski is using both of those running backs and then play action off of that to make to make Baker Mayfield a better quarterback.
Yeah, I think we have a coach. I really do. I think, we have somebody who can really change this organization. So I'm happy with Kevin.
Here's the one thing I will question him on. Late in the game there, 5 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 1, okay? And he decides to throw on 3rd and 1. And Baker misses a wide open Kareem Hunt. Okay, that's the one you were talking about. So if Baker executes it, we're not even talking about this. But still, 3rd and 1 for me with the numbers I just gave you running the football, Eddie. I look at that and I go, I'm going to run it on 3rd and 1, and then if I'm already thinking I'm going for it on 4th and 1, I'm going to run it on 4th and 1. I'm going to run it 2 times to get 1 yard with my best, part of my offense, and he throws there, and then they go for it, and they come up short. After not getting it, I would have kicked the field goal to go up 2 scores, 11 points there, but he was going for the jugular to put them away. I get it, but still, in this crazy season where we've seen crazy things happen, I would have gone up 11 points and kicked the field goal.
Now, that's the series where the ball I sent you those pictures?
Yeah, you did. You sent me them.
What is the ruling? Does the ball have to – it just has to pass the plane of the marker, correct?
The metal marker or the metal pole that is the first down marker, it's got to at least touch the front edge of that marker.
Well,
I don't know.
Fast.
It looked like it, right?
Depending
on what angle.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're standing, but then the ref comes up and says it's like this.
Right, I know. He's holding his hands apart like that.
Like, well, dude, how about
Yeah.
And then the that bad hit. I just thought that was a bad call. I mean,
yep.
Like the announcer said, the guy's come. He's running at 50 miles an hour. I mean, what else is he supposed to do with his body?
Yeah. I'm with you. I thought that was a BS call. I really did. But, hey, give them credit. They went down and scored. And I've been hard on this guy. What is this? Game 11. I've been hard on this guy, and I'm going to give some love to Andrew Sendejo today because in the first quarter he broke up a touchdown pass, right?
Yep.
And then the pass I don't think could have been caught, but on that 2-point conversion, he was in good position and helped break that play up. So for as bad as he's been to this point, and he's been bad, give him credit for at least making 2 positive plays today to help the Browns defense out, right? When we rag on him, we got to give him love as well, right?
Yeah, and he's a banger too. I mean, I've seen him make big hits, but his coverage, he's lost some of his his speed, and he's an older guy, right?
Yeah. So he helped out today, though, and let's remember: no Denzel Ward, no Myles Garrett, no Sione Taki. Those guys 2 of them are out with COVID. One's out, with an injury. So they were -3 of their starting players on defense, which isn't great to begin with.
And then Harrison gets hurt.
Right, on the first defensive play of the game. So Ronnie goes down. So you're looking at 4 guys now out. And so I think we saw more of what this Browns defense, even though, they had 4 guys injured, it was Jacksonville who put up 25. So, again, I think moving forward, if the weather's not a factor, this Browns defense is going to give up somewhere between 21 and 28, maybe 30 points a game. So Baker and the offense, they're going to have to score 24 to 31 a game. And how nice was it to see Jarvis Landry impact the game in a positive way today?
It's incredible that was his first touchdown of the year.
I didn't know that. I heard them say that, and I was like, wait a second, is that right? But, yeah, it was.
And Baker's first touchdown pass in 70 attempts.
Yeah.
In 70 throws.
Yeah. Now, some of that was the weather. Some of it was Baker. Some of it was the play calling. But still, that's a long way to go without a touchdown pass. But he didn't turn it over today. My biggest thing with Baker Mayfield, yes, I want him to be more accurate. I counted 5 throws that he had wide open guys that he missed. Inaccurate throws, okay? So I want him to be more accurate, okay? Yeah. But no interceptions, no fumbles today. Okay, took an intentional grounding penalty. That's fine. Live to play another down, even though it's not the smartest thing to do, but it wasn't a turnover. If he continues to not turn the football over, the quarterback, that's going to give them a better chance to win, especially against the better teams. They did have the Bryant fumble, and Jacksonville, capitalized on it. But Baker didn't turn it over today, and to me, that's as important as the 2 touchdown passes that he threw today.
Yeah. And ironic that Joe Schobert was the guy who was it that fumbled?
Harrison Bryant.
He caused the Bryant fumble there. So
yeah, former Browns linebacker, absolutely. Yeah. So let's get some of these comments up on the screen here from Lenny in Ohio. A win is a win is a win. Is a win is a win is a win, Lenny. You're absolutely right. No, you take it. All the years the Browns were 3-13 or 2-14 or 0-16 or whatever, you take an 8th win in 11 games every time you have the opportunity, right, Eddie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How about this one here from Donna Sonnier Melhorn? Way to go, Brownies! And she's got she even painted her hearts orange in honor of the Browns. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah. Another one here from Nathaniel Maiku. What a win. I wouldn't go that far, but it is a win.
It is. Okay. What a win.
Yeah, I guess.
What? Win?
Tania 24-42, 70-27 hike. Go Browns. You'll take the W on that. This one from Quentin Singleton, who watches us every week. Browns in Tennessee, 8-3. I hope Myles Garrett is back next week. Yeah. How about that? Tennessee takes care of Indy. Browns take care of Jacksonville. Now, two teams that are 8-3 and battling for the top wild card spot, or in Tennessee's case, they're battling for the top spot in their division. Browns battling for the wild card spot because they're still 3 games behind, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who may or may not play Tuesday night against Baltimore with the crazy COVID situation that's going on there. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, you've positioned yourself very well through 11 games to be one of, if not the top wild card spot, right?
Yeah. So who else do we need to root for the rest of the day?
You know what? I was just going to look that up here to see, on my phone here, who's playing and what other teams you want to root for, root against, and things of that nature. But of course, when you need it most, my phone isn't working. So I'll have to look for that a little bit later.
Boomer.
Yeah.
You're a boomer.
Yeah. David R. Shipe won. These next 2 games will tell who the Browns really are. And let's look. I want to double check the schedule before I mouth off and pretend like I know off the top of my head exactly who the next 2 are, because I can't remember what I had for breakfast today, let alone remember what the Browns schedule is. Let's see here. We'll pull this up. We go to my cell phone, bringing this baby up. But I'm guessing one of them's Tennessee. I know that. But the big question is, with the Browns, are they going to be able to do this against the better teams? And I think that's what David's, pointing out to us right there, that, okay, you can get away with it, like we said, making some of these mistakes against the lesser lights, right? The weaker teams. But when you look at the schedule and you see who the Browns have coming up next, what is it? It's Tennessee at Tennessee, 1:00 next Sunday, and then it's Baltimore at home on an 8:15 kickoff. So that's a Monday night game, right? That's a Monday night game against Baltimore, 8:15. So you're going to play a team that's 8-3 like you, and Baltimore, who's over 500 and has destroyed you once already. So I agree with David. We're going to find out more about this team over the next 2 weeks. But having said that, you got to beat who's on the schedule, who's in front of you. And just imagine what we'd be talking about here on the Browns postgame show, Eddie Mcclintock, if they would have lost this game. We would have crucified them. Instead of being 8-3, they would have been 7-4, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing that the game was as close as it was. But, like you said, it's the COVID season, it's 2020, and it's the NFL. So
right, you take the win and you move on. So Melanie's very happy. Let's go celebrate today, Melanie. Go Brownies, 8-3. Vic the Rican. All right, Vic the Rican. Thanks for watching us today here. The Roadman, Kenny Rhoda, along with our favorite Secret Service agent from Warehouse 13, Eddie Mcclintock, joining us live from Hollywood, California, via North Canton Hoover High School. And we're happy to have Eddie on with us to talk some Browns. Let's see here. Another one from Steve Jerbs. I thought it was Steve Jobs. I was like, wait a second, that can't happen, can it? No. 2 scores was the move, obviously, but what is Bogger on about? I don't speak that language, but I agree with you, Steve, on the first part of your message there, that they should have went for, the field goal and make it a 2-score game. The Browns defense has to contain Derrick Henry next. What did Jacksonville ran for a bunch of yards today too? Garrett you hope to have back, right? So that'll be good. Ward's out. Sione Taki you hope to have back at linebacker, but yeah, they're going to have a handful with Derrick Henry next week, no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, the kid that ran today for Jacksonville, I guess at the beginning of the season, he was number 4 on their depth chart.
Yep.
And so, yeah, Derrick Henry is definitely no one's number 4 on the depth chart. He's a stud.
He's a big time stud. And let's see here. How many yards did Jacksonville rush for today? They ran for 140 yards. So Jacksonville hit you for $140. You ran for 207, so a lot of yards on the ground, but it's got to be better than that next week if you're going to beat Tennessee. Let's see here. What's this one? I'm sorry. Throw that one up again. Roger Stinchcomb, too many open misses. That's the stuff we were talking about with Baker, right? He's got to he's got to zero in with his accuracy and his footwork, I think, is part of it. The one he missed on the slant, and dang, I got to find this because it's pissing me off that I can't find it here on who he missed on back-to-back throws there. Because here we go. Browns lead only 10-6 in second quarter instead of 14-6 because of two horrific passes by Baker. Higgins was the first one who was wide open. So it was Hollywood Higgins, 82 on that slant, Eddie, was wide open for like forever, it seemed like. And he took a while to throw it, and then it was a bad throw. And if you look at the video, he was standing sideways trying to throw. He didn't step into the throw. And then Landry was the other one there. So, yeah, I agree with Steve Jerbs there that it's got to be better against the better teams. No question about it.
It's like he gets the yips, like it's like in golf on those short putts. You just kind of, it seems like it's just mental,
Great point. And maybe he's still having issues in the pocket with his vision, his height. Because how many times did we see early in the game, and I love this from Kevin Stefanski, early in the game when he rolled Baker out, they bootlegged left twice. Right. They did a play action, right? And there were 4 times where they moved Baker, and he boom, 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 boom. He was dead accurate on all of those throws. Yeah. But when he's in that pocket and it starts to collapse, that's like you said, maybe he gets the yips and that release because he thinks he's got to get it over the lineman. He lets it go too high, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, a couple throws, you could see the trajectory, that he was – you can see the ball having to move up instead of just across the plane. So
yeah, absolutely. Got Leslie Ball hitting me up on Twitter, Eddie Mcclintock. First time since 2007 that the Browns will finish 500 or better. It will be only the third time in the expansion era that the Browns will finish 500 or better. Think about it. They were 9-7 in 2002. They were 10-7 in 2007, and now this. I mean, that's how bad this expansion era has been for the Browns, and they have the longest drought in the NFL of not making the playoffs, which is 18 years. So you're 8-3. You win 3 out of your last 5 games. 11 wins. You're guaranteed a spot. If you would just win 2 out of your last 5 games, I think you still make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows 2020 has been a strange year, but I'll take it.
Yeah, very, very strange. Let's get a couple of more of these up from Twitter as I'm multiple devicing this. Republican Chris Rock on Twitter should have run Chubb on 4th and 1. Hunt has not been as good on short yardage situations. For me, if it is 4th and 1, I agree with Republican Chris Rock that I want my better of the 2 backs in there, right? One of the leading rushers, my best player on the team. And I understand they're supposedly interchangeable, but I would rather have Chubb in there on 4th and 1. He just seems to fall forward for a yard every time he carries the ball. You know what I mean? So, I agree with Republican Chris Rock on that one. Let's see here. Michael Regai, my old radio partner, always about building a lead 2 possessions late in the game. It's called putting your team in the best position to win. And he's talking about Stefanski going for it instead of kicking the field goal. That's my old radio partner, Michael Rega. And I agree. I said, kick the field goal there, go up 11, and you're good to go there because I can't see Jacksonville scoring twice on you in the final 5 minutes there to beat you. Now, it worked out, and they won, but that's because of a failed 2-point conversion, and they hold on and get the win.
Right. And as we know, as Browns fans, we're always going, oh, well, that didn't happen. So of course we're going to lose now, but didn't work out that way today. So.
All right. Oh, there I can hear myself on my phone. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, man. That's my George W. from back in the day. Let's see here. Billy Blindstone Jr. is checking us out here. And he says Baker gets excited when someone is wide open like Higgins. Like you said, gets maybe 2. Oh, and I don't know. That's got to get better. Yeah, the yips. I agree with you. I think that's fair. Alan Carter says franchise QBs don't keep missing wide open TDs. And that's about the third different game this year where Baker's missed somebody that was wide open in the end zone. Again, Jacksonville, get away with it. Cincinnati, get away with it. Tennessee next week, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, the playoff teams you want to be with in the playoffs, you can't do that.
No.
Craig Easterday checks us out every week, Eddie. So what's up, Kenny and Eddie? Baker has to set his feet. He is pretty accurate when he does. Chubb continues to be brilliant. He was involved in the passing game effectively, too. And that's a great point by Craig Easterday. Thanks for checking in with us, Craig. They did. He caught 3 passes for 31 yards today and 144 rushing. So, like I said, $175 combined yards for Chubb. If he adds that to his repertoire, we're going to be talking about Nick Chubb, not as the best player on this team, but an MVP candidate, in my opinion, in the league.
Yeah, he's an exciting dude to watch, man. I'm looking for him to be in the HOF someday.
Yeah, if he continues on this pace, man, he's the best they have without question. Denny Kincaid is checking us out, and he's asking you and I a question. All right.
All right.
This isn't Reuben Kincaid from the Partridge Family. It's his long distant cousin.
Cool.
Huh? How about that? Denny Kincaid, is Baker the QB to lead us to the promised land? Are you sold on Baker? Remember we were talking about buying stock, I think, last week? Are you buying stock specifically in the individual, the brand that is Baker Mayfield as a franchise quarterback?
I'll buy 4 again this week. I'm not impressed necessarily at times. Like I said, he throws some amazing balls and he does some great things, but it's these things that just like the last person that wrote in said, a franchise QB shouldn't be missing throws like that over and over again.
Right. Repeatedly.
So, I don't know. I'm still pulling for him, and I hope he can turn it around. And I don't expect him to be perfect, Right. I don't expect him to be perfect, but a lot of things were far from perfect in that regard.
All right, let's throw a couple of these other questions that are coming in. A lot of people checking us out today. Eddie McClintock from Hollywood, Kenny Rhoda here, Medina, Ohio, talking about a Browns win over the Jaguars. Connie Bednarzik, can we have just one game where we can just sit back and enjoy the game without so much drama? Listen to it on WHBC and watch it on TV. Mute it like I always do. Connie, come on, it wouldn't be any fun that way, right, Eddie?
Yeah. I mean, who needs low blood pressure?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be nice. I get what she's saying, but it makes the game exciting, and we got the W. So what are you going to do?
Here's a great question that I'm going to throw out to you. I have my answer, and we'll see if we get other people chiming in on this as well. They can answer it. All right. And the question is, Quentin Singleton, do you think the Browns are better with or without OBJ? I'll let you answer first, Eddie. We'll see if anybody else wants to chime in. Then I'll give you my answer on this. Good question, Quentin. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the question.
I think it's a fair question. I know, people think that OBJ is kind of a distraction to Baker when he's on the field, but I think they're a better team when he's playing. Despite that other thought, he's a top 10 receiver, and I think he should be on the field.
Here's the way I look at it. I think Baker Mayfield focused too much on trying to get him the football and keeping him happy because he is a supposedly top 5 or worst case top 10 wide receiver, right? Yeah. He's a diva also. So he's got the ego to go with it, Terrell Owens and the playmaker Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson. It just seems like a lot of these guys, they're divas, right? Their ego, like right now, OBJ wouldn't be able to fit on this 2 screen for either one of us. His head's too big, all right? But here's the thing. I understand that he makes great one-handed catches and is a talent. Don't get me wrong. I think the Browns offense is better without him because Baker's not thinking he's got to force it in. And he gets zeroed in and eyes down his receiver, and it's OBJ's looking at OBJ. The play OBJ got hurt, right? It was an interception.
Right.
And so I think that this forces Baker to scan the field and throw it to who's ever open. Kadero Hodge, Tywan Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Hooper, the tight end, whoever it is. And I think that takes the pressure off of Baker Mayfield having to throw the ball to OBJ. That's my personal opinion on it. I think they're better off without him.
Yeah. Well,
so we'll see. We'll see it against the better team. That's the case.
We could use the money and get somebody on defense.
There you go. JT is now watching us. Let's see here. He just sent us a question here. He must be done putting up the tree. Eddie, JT says, how do you have one of the best running games in the league and yet do not run the ball on 3rd down and 4th down and 1 inches? I agree. That's what we talk about. I mean, come on, man. And I said this early in the game. Mike Glennon hadn't started since 2017 for a reason, right? Okay? He's not a good quarterback. He's a backup. He's a journeyman. They had it 1st and goal from like the 5 or 3 or something like that, and they ran it on 1st down when they were having success running the football, and then Glennon threw 2 incomplete passes. And I'm sitting there going, thanks, Doug Marrone. Great job for not running the ball when you were gaining 4 or 5 yards of crack down there, and you've got a guy that's starting for the first time in 3 years. So I just think coaches outthink themselves sometimes. Like JT said, 3rd and 1, give it to Chubb. Okay, 4th and 1, give it to Chubb again. What are the odds he doesn't get 1 yard on 2 carries?
Right. Yeah.
So, that's just the way I'm thinking out loud there. So, JT, thanks for checking in with us. Hopefully Lucy doesn't knock down the tree, man. Hopefully you have a little fence around that tree. Lucy, that little French bulldog, she runs that place. JT and Lisa are just living in the house. It's Lucy's world, man. So they better make sure they put something up around that tree or Lucy's going to knock that sucker down, man. Brian Bailey checking in with us. What's up, Brian? OBJ is a distraction. The Browns should take a cue from the Steelers, who are a better team without Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Look at that. Somebody, weighing in on that. And Brian, Old Carolina barbecue, best in the business, man. Love my Old Carolina barbecue. In fact, this week I'm going to be getting me some Old Carolina barbecue. It's fantastic. If you ever come, Eddie, back and you're at the station or whatever, dinner is on me and we're getting Old Carolina barbecue. Fantastic food with Brian Bailey and Old Carolina barbecue. You'll love it there. So
thank you. I'll take you up on it.
Yeah, you won't regret that. All right, so 8-3 after 11 games. I'm trying to remember. I think I predicted they would go 8-8 this year. So that means they would have to lose all 5 games the rest of the season for me to be right, and I'm glad I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I'm wrong on this. So 8-3 through 11, and then you've got Tennessee. I'm trying to remember now. Tennessee, Baltimore. Then it's either the Jets and the Giants or the Giants and the Jets, and then you close with the Steelers. So Jets and Giants, that's 2 wins. So you're looking at 10 wins there, right? And then you need 1 out of 3. Okay, in my opinion, 1 out of 3 from the good teams, Tennessee, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. 11 wins is going to get you in. In 2007, they won 10 and didn't get in, okay? Yeah. I don't think if you get to 11 wins, you'll get knocked out of the playoffs, Eddie. I think 11 is the for sure slam dunk number to get in the playoffs. Maybe 10, but 11 for sure. What do you think?
Well, I think next week will be, the most important game in regards to the Tennessee, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I think that's the most winnable game, in my opinion, of the 3. And then if they can beat the Jets and the Giants, of course, we thought that they would whip up on Jacksonville pretty good today. So, game to game, man. Today's a win. Next week, let's go for the win, right?
That's it. You're speaking like a coach. It's one game at a time. We're on to Tennessee. Bill Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati, and that's that would be your Belichick. So that's the way to think, man. Let's see here. Bill Blystone Jr. says, feel they are a better team. Give them a chance to work together in the offseason and preseason. And that's a fair point with Baker and Stefanski. This is year one of Stefanski as a head coach anywhere. This is year one Baker with Stefanski and his fourth offensive coordinator or head coach. I've lost track of how many of each he's had, right? Yeah. So I think as hard as we are on Baker, and deservedly so with some of the throws that he did miss, right? If he gets to be in the same offense, into the offseason, into the preseason, and into next season, in the regular season, that's only going to benefit him. So that's a fair point by Billy there. But, of course, we're looking at the here and now. What have you done for me lately? And can you get away with that against Tennessee and Baltimore the next 2 weeks? Probably not.
No.
What else here? Jeff Kolowitz. I got to try this. Kowalczyk, I think that's about right, is watching us today here on the Browns postgame show. My good buddy Paul Cray checking us out. Questionable calls, BS. And there were a number of them. You mentioned the helmet or lead with the helmet call on Vernon on that sack. They're only a sack, which was wiped out because of the penalty. And then the 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, the mark on that. Jim Johnson's checking us out today here, Eddie. Let's see.
What's up, Jimmy?
Put both Chubb and Hunt in the backfield together. And that's from Billy Blindstone. What about that? What if you did? What about 3rd and 1?
Old I formation or wishbone?
Right. And fake the hand up the middle and pitch to the outside. Draw the defense in. Maybe they're saving that for next week against Tennessee. I like that, though.
Yeah.
Love that. Let's see. JT's weighing in. I can't stand to listen to this crap. Remember, OBJ blew his knee up because Baker Mayfield overthrew the ball. Lots of overthrows today as well. Ask Higgins. Should have had a TD. That question shouldn't be, would the offense be better without OBJ? The question should be, would it be better with a better quarterback? So JT's laying the boom down on Baker Mayfield there. That's
he
JT.
Shifted his anger from Garrett to Baker.
But that's a wide receiver sticking up for a wide receiver and blaming it on the quarterback right there, right? Let's see here. And he also says, at least Eddie's not wearing his TTUN crap this week. That team up north. Got your brown. Oh, there you go. Look, see that, JT?
See,
you had to bring it up. He's got his U of. How about them lose? What? Okay, their football team. They should just take all the wrestlers. Then, if you know the wrestling program there, they should take all the wrestlers and let them play football because the guys that they have playing football at Michigan can't tackle or play anybody, man.
Yeah, I don't. What does that come down? Is it the players or is it the coach?
Combination, because the coach is recruiting the players and then he's thinking he can coach them up, and it's obviously not working. I mean, they haven't had a quarterback in how many years there? It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, they just seem to be maybe they just don't want to play for him.
We'll see. I mean, that's the first time they've lost to a team that started 0-5 in the history of Michigan football. And I enjoyed it so much.
You hate to see it.
I enjoyed it so much yesterday, man. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm not a Penn. I grew up outside of Pittsburgh. And were you a Pitt fan or were you a Penn State fan? I really wasn't either. I didn't, have an allegiance. We had friends across the street that went to Penn State, so I'd, jab at them every time they'd lose, or something like that. Right. So, but I was rooting for Penn State, man. My two favorite teams in college football, Eddie, Ohio State. And who's ever playing Michigan. Those are my two favorite teams. That's the way. And to see Harbaugh on the sidelines look constipated, like he's got to take a dump and it won't come out. I love seeing that look on his face, man.
I kind of, he blew it for me for any future movie about him, because I keep getting that I look like Jim Harbaugh.
I didn't want to bring that up, but there is a resemblance. Look at Yeah. Maybe they. You should go as Halloween. You should go dressed up as Jim Harbaugh for Halloween.
I shall. I may. If there's a Halloween.
Well, I know next year. Let's keep our fingers crossed by then. Not with the glasses too. I'm seeing that right now.
I was at the post office the other day walking out, and some guy turned and looked at me and he goes, "You look like Jim Harbaugh." Because I used to get David Boreanaz all the time. So,
okay, right.
What are you going to do?
I don't get anybody. Nobody. They don't. I don't look like anybody. Somebody said Weird Al Yankovic, and I was like, oh, thanks. That's fantastic. No, good. And the Harbaugh thing too. He played there. You would think if anybody would get that thing turned around, but it's just not working. Maybe they can do a disaster movie starring Jim Harbaugh, and then you can play him in the Michigan football disaster, and you can be the lead in that.
See, I root for Michigan when they're not playing Ohio State. I want them to be a good team, because when the Buckeyes win,
right,
it makes the Big Ten look good. It makes the Buckeyes look good. I'm
a fair point.
So I don't hate Michigan. I went to wrestling camp up at U of M when I was a kid and had a good time. And they have really neat uniforms.
The uniform always plays into things, right? The color combination and the Wolverine helmet. Although my buddy, Buckeye Dwayne, I don't know if you've ever heard him on our show. He's the biggest Buckeye fan I know, okay? Yeah. And we've been doing radio for years with him, and his big thing, whenever there's a big hit, there's a Pinoing, baby! Knocked his lug nuts off, cracked his windshield. He gets all fired up, right? Yeah. And so he'll call the Kenny and JT show on WHBC Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. And every time he talks Ohio State, he ends his call with something along the lines of, and for all you urination-stained helmet fans up there, suck on this one. That's his way to end the show. So love having Buckeye Dwayne on.
He has a catchphrase and everything. I gotta step up.
Yeah, step your game up. Got to bring a catchphrase next Browns post game.
Yeah. Right? I think somebody did that one.
That was like our JT and I were in a fraternity, ATO at Baldwin Wallace. It was the hip hurrah, hip hurrah. We had a cheer we did.
You guys were in the same frat?
Same frat. Yeah. Wow. Did radio back in college at Baldwin Wallace back in 85. And here we are in 20. Think about that. 35 years later, we're still doing radio together, man. Pretty scary.
That's
pretty scary. Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
I've got a buddy out here who he found out that, I was doing your show, and he's like, man, I love Kenny. I used to listen to him back in when he was up in Cleveland and when he was younger, and he loves you, man. So you've got fans all the way out here in California.
Love that. If we can get them in Hollywood, California, that's adding to the group now that we're streaming everywhere, so people can listen to us Monday through Friday. WHBC.com. You can listen live, or you pull us up on the iHeartRadio app and take us wherever you are. If you're in Hollywood, like Eddie Mcclintock, you can drive around, plug it in your car, and pull it up on the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you go, in the country, out of the country, you can listen to us. All right, let's see here if we have any new comments. Yada, yada, yada. All right, no. So let's go on to next week then, Eddie. Browns win today, 27-25 over Jacksonville. You see the numbers crawling across the screen there. Tennessee next week. Give me your thoughts on the matchup with the Tennessee Titans next week. What do they have to do next week to beat Tennessee, in your opinion, Eddie?
Well, obviously, it's going to be important to see if we get Garrett back, see if we get Denzel Ward back, see if Harrison's shoulder is where he is. If we can get those guys back in the rotation, I think we have a good chance to shut Henry down, or at least keep him, contained relatively. And, Baker has to clean some stuff up. Landry is, I think he's, catching his stride. I think he's ready to explode. Yeah. And, Chubb and Hunt in the backfield. It's a very winnable game for us. We just have to, clean up some of the mistakes and get those guys back on the field that are sick and injured.
Here's the thing with Baker and Landry. Let's give them both credit. They had broken ribs, cracked ribs. They played through them. So maybe, like you said, starting to hit their stride, feeling better. Ward probably won't be available next week. You're hoping Garrett comes back. You're hoping Taki comes back. You're hoping maybe Janovich, the fullback, comes back. Joe Johnson, another defensive tackle that had the coronavirus. So you get as many guys back healthy as you can to add to that. It's going to take a total team effort next week. And I think one of the keys will be ball control offense. What's their best defense next week? To control the ball, eat the clock on offense, and keep, Henry and that, offense off the field. Yeah, I think that's the, shorten the game, right? And when you score, can't kick field goals against the Tennessee Titans, right? You got it when you have a chance for a touchdown, you got to score 7 and not settle for 3 against them next week.
Yeah.
All right.
They, Henry scores touchdowns, and the offense has to, answer.
All right, I do have some more questions. Check this one out for you from Brian Bailey from Old Carolina Barbecue, Eddie McClintock. Wants to know, any other Browns fans out there in Hollywood?
No?
You're the only one.
No, actually, there's a ton of Browns fans in Hollywood proper. I'm outside of Hollywood a little bit.
Yep.
But there's a bar in Hollywood, like right near Sunset Boulevard, that opens up on Sundays, and all the Browns fans go there. But they haven't been able to do it this year because of COVID. So,
right.
So there's a big contingent of Browns fans out here, actually.
Yeah, I miss it too, because usually on Sundays, Eddie, I'm at Jersey's near the Hall of Fame, that location, with the Stark County Browns backers doing trivia, and 200 plus members get together at Jersey's and watch the game. We've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years, and of course this year we haven't had the opportunity. So that led to this Cleveland Browns post game, the virtual TV studio, getting a guy from Hollywood, JT, last week, coming in from Canton. I'm in Medina. So the idea is to grow this and get it looking like the Brady Bunch, where we have like 9 people on the show in the post game. So anybody out there that wants to, actor buddies of yours.
Marsha.
There you see? All right, real quick, best episode of Brady Bunch, since you brought that up. What's your favorite episode of the Brady Bunch ever? JT likes the Joe Namath one because he's a big Joe Namath guy. That's JT's favorite one.
It has to be the Vincent Price Hawaii Tiki episode for me, in the cave. I was a big Vincent Price guy growing up. So,
all right.
That's probably my favorite.
My favorite is when the Brady Bunch, they were trying to save up money to get Mike and Carol an anniversary gift. You remember it? And then they saw this contest where you could go on. It was a talent contest. And they named themselves the Silver Platters.
We're gonna keep on rocking on through the night.
See that? That's my all-time favorite one.
Yeah.
Brady. So the Silver Platters, and they won the Silver Platter to give to Mike and Carol. So there you go, a little Brady Bunch. How about this? And I got to throw this up for me. Look at this. Thank you, Connie. Oh, Kenny. You look just like Bradley Cooper for sure.
There you go. Nice.
Connie, I appreciate that. It's a stretch, but I appreciate that very much. Some more. John Bazika at WHBC hitting us up. The Browns won. That's the only stat that matters. The Packers barely beat the Jags 24-20, and the Texans barely beat the Jags 27-20. So his point is, forget about what Baker didn't do. He did enough to get the win. And in this crazy year, 8-3 is 8-3. Whether you win by 1 or 20, it still counts as one win. Fair point?
Yeah. I mean, I just like we talked about earlier, when you start, because we have to start thinking about whether the Browns are going to franchise Baker. So, he's under the microscope for me.
All right, we'll see what happens next week with the Titans. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. Everybody can listen on WHBC after the game. If you're free again, you've got the open invite, Eddie. If you want to invite anybody else in, let me know. We'll send out invites to them and add to this post-game show. And for our Eddie McClintock fans out there that love you from Warehouse 13, as well as the other things you did from Friends to Modern Family, tell them a little bit more about the Mighty Ducks and, what's the latest on that thing you shot up in Vancouver?
Well, as you know, the Mighty Ducks, they a couple of really great movies that they did with Emilio Estevez, and Disney is bringing the show. They're making a series. They did 10 episodes, and I play the dad of the lead kid and the ex of the lead female, Lauren Graham. So, if the show goes okay, hopefully I'll be back next season. They don't really have an air date yet. They haven't announced an air date, but it's a great kids show. The players on the Ducks team, a bunch of great kids characters and a lot of fun for kids. And, who doesn't love Emilio Estevez? So,
yeah. And you know what? If they can bring back the Karate Kid and turn that into a successful television series, Cobra Kai, then the Mighty Ducks, why not, man? And hopefully, like you said, 10 episodes in season 1 and bring it back for, seasons after that. And you're a part of that. And we can, have you seen Cobra Kai? Did you watch it yet? Have you seen it?
I have not.
It is worth the watch.
Is it?
JT now refers to his home studio as his dojo, where he does his show from. So
wax on, wax off.
Yes, Danielson, wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's a good series to watch if you want to go back and relive, because they don't shy away from it. They just play right off of what happened. And Ralph
Are they winking at it? I mean, is it a kind of a comedy or?
Yes, Yes, without like looking right into the camera and winking.
Right.
But they reference it, and they have flashbacks too. They use the movie for flashbacks. So, and they brought back all the characters, unfortunately, except for Mr. Miyagi, because Pat Maria's passed away. But the characters we're waiting for Elizabeth Shue. There has not been an Elizabeth Shue sighting, but they ended the season with her calling on the cell phone. And you see that her character is
Ralph Macchio.
Yeah. Oh, he's the lead, and his rival. And I always forget the actor's name. I feel so bad.
Billy
something. Yeah. Whatever.
Billy with a Z. Billy.
Yes. Yeah. That's the guy. He's back, and he's great. Yes, and he accepts it, 100%, and it's hysterical. So that's a hit. So I'm counting on the Mighty Ducks as well. Let us know when that's going to air on Disney, so we can get the word out to everybody. All right.
Yes, sir. I will.
Eddie, thanks so much for joining us. If you want again next week, you're in. Just let me know, and hopefully we'll be talking about another Browns win next week. All right.
Go Browns.
But there he is, Eddie Mcclintock, all the way from Hollywood, California, checking in with us here today on the Browns postgame show. Browns a winner. They get the victory. That's all that matters. They are now 8-3 on the year, and let's check the scoreboard before we sign off with you here on this Browns postgame show. See if this is up to date. Here are your finals from today. Let's see. That was Thursday. The Bills beat the Chargers 27-17. Patriots shocked the Cardinals 20-17. Dolphins keep the Jets winless 20-3 the final. The Giants beat the Bengals 19-17. The Titans all over the Colts 45-26, setting up that matchup next week of 2 8-3 teams, Cleveland and Tennessee. The Vikings 1 point better than the Panthers 28-27, and the Falcons destroyed John Gruden and the Raiders from Vegas, 43-6. Didn't see that one coming. Holy cow. That's crazy there. Early games, or I should say early games. Those were the early games. The late games, the Saints leading the Broncos 7-0 in the second. The Broncos without a quarterback. They all got COVID. So they're using some wide receiver off the practice squad as their quarterback. I haven't watched it, but that's what I was told. 49ers leading the Rams 7-3 in the second quarter. And the Chiefs 17-0 on top of, wait, is this game really going on? Yeah, okay, 9-1 Kansas City at 7-4 Tampa Bay, 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. Tom Brady, another Michigan guy, getting the butt kicked out of him. Let's see, Harrison Buckner, Tyreek Hill from Mahomes, 17-0. Kansas City up. But the most important score of the day, the Browns beat the Jaguars 27-25. And that's a final, and that'll wrap things up here on the Browns postgame show. We'll talk more about this. We'll talk more about the Buckeyes not playing this past weekend, as well as will they play next weekend against Michigan State on the Kenny and JT show. Tune in Monday at 3 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in with us here tonight. Thanks again to actor extraordinaire from Hollywood, California, our good friend Eddie Mcclintock. Everybody be well out there. Stay safe. We'll talk to you either next Saturday on the postgame show with the Buckeyes if they play, next Sunday on the Browns postgame show, or tomorrow on the Kenny and JT show on 1480 WHBC.